We live in an age where those in power are openly using every weapon at their disposal to impose their will upon the future. Where the principles of authoritarianism and individualism stand in open conflict in the streets, in the courts, in the news, in everyday life. Where the choices we make and the choices that are made for us have consequences no one can foresee. You do not stand alone. You do not fight alone. You do not suffer alone. We are united. We resist. We are here with you. As long as there is a truth that remains hidden, as long as lies are spread openly, we will continue to speak out. We will continue to question. We will continue to be the united resistance.
Same thing we always do. Fight them until we can't.
Oh, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, we are here on United Resistance, fighting them until we can't. And that is sure a long ways off because, man, we got a lot of piss and vinegar and fight in all of us. And, oh, well, this episode tonight, there might be a little bit of some stuff going on. Like, I don't know, maybe a lot of fucking stuff going on. I've got Shellback with me. I've got Free Speech Gaming with me. I got the man, the legend, Exceptional Keen of the Place to Be Reviews with me. And, oh, my goodness, we got a lot of shit to talk about. We do have a guest tonight. Hopefully she shows up soon, and that is Janet from Another Planet. We're still I'm trying to track her down. I don't know what is going on with Miss Janet, but as soon as she can be here, I'm guessing that she shall be here. So, all righty. Well, first things first, I know today here in Ohio, it is our primary. I did vote earlier this afternoon. I actually had to run over to Walmart and go to the eye doctor and then get fitted for some new glasses because, God, I sorely need new glasses. And as soon as I finished up with that, I ran over to the polling place and did my voting. You know, it was one of our big Republican primaries today, so I got that out of the way. We're definitely pulling for our dude, J.R. Majeski, that was on the very first episode of United Resistance, a.k.a. at that time, Rogue Resistance. And he impressed the shit out of all of us. And I'm hoping that today's a good day for JR. I'm hoping he gets into Congress. Unfortunately, when they did the redistricting here, he ceased to become my candidate, and he's over in Northwest Ohio because they shifted everything around. But I'm still pulling for the guy. I hope he gets in there because, man, the dude had good ideas. I especially loved what he said about his energy ideas, everything else. I really think that he's spot on. Because if you remember, Pete, when he was talking about nuclear, I think he nailed it with that. And I really think that, man, he's got some killer ideas. And that's we need idea people in Congress that are willing to say, hey, look, this shit works. Let's get it rolling.
Yeah. This whole every iron we have in the fire right now, and we're about to get another big one, is pulling us in so many different directions that focusing in on one singular problem is becoming it's going to lead to this existential crisis we're going to have as a country, which we're already in the midst of right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Right.
You know, and you speaking of nuclear, China is, we got issues in Russia now, with them still, China's in bed with them and all their little cronies over there. And I think that's one thing we really should be nervous about, especially with who's controlling the red button on our side. And what the military, the state, and I'm no military expert at all. I'll never pretend to be. But I know, we do have a amazing military in the United States. I just hope that those fighting men and women are under the correct leadership should the need arise again, which unfortunately is becoming more of a reality than any of us probably want to admit at this point. Because we have so many problems here on the home front, leading in with which we'll talk about later, the Supreme Court. This is, yeah, these are definitely dark times, and as a parent, it's equally, and it amplifies the the anxiety, which I already have issues with as it is, but
Right.
what, yeah, this doesn't help at all.
No, man. Well, let's say what's up to our chat here real quick, because we got a lot of folks up in the chat. Of course, Freezy, he's on the panel. So,
What's up,
uh,
everybody?
Lasso of Truth, what's up, Trina? She is Modern. She is the head goddess in Modest, and she is keeping the trolls away. She's also, as I said, she was kind enough to post the link to my mom's memorial fund. And yes, folks, we have hit, I want to say recently, as of the last checking on a memorial fund, we funded up to 27%, something like that. We're at 5,500. I really want to see this thing fund if we can, because I've got enough to possibly cover the shortfall on the mortgage, but there's still a lot to go. Obviously, you got to pay mom's final expenses and everything else. If you can share, if you can donate, whatever you can do with the campaign, just please share it out. Even, as long as you share it out, that helps. Every little bit helps. So givesendgo.com/Taylor Legacy for that. Solar Warden, how are you doing, my friend? Great to see you. The Time Prophet, what is up? Gotta love Time Prophet, jolly old Time Prophet from the UK. All right, Drunk 3PO, welcome back, sir.
He's
Great
7'4".
Yeah, he is. Keely Chow, that's right. We do not kneel. Hail, everybody. Awesome to see Keely Chow in the chat. One of our favorite friends, Lindsay the Cynical Geek, is in here. What's up, Lindsay? How are you, dear? And let's see, who else do we have? Soul Assassin is in the house. What is up, Soul? Great to see you. Tony, blue-eyed root Korean and based, is here. U.S. Army was greatest fighting force the world has ever known. Then I retired. Eats up with a $2 super chat. Dude, you didn't have to do that. Thank you. First super chat of the night. Yes, sir. Indeedy. It is.
Somebody had to pop the cherry.
Oh, man. So thank you. Thank you muchly. And Shellback was apparently having roboting issues. And I know Terminus Est is here too. What is up, Terminus? Great to see you, buddy. So, all right, we got everybody covered. But yeah, we got a lot going on besides just the Ohio primaries and everything else. You know, there's a lot of shit that's happening. Namely, obviously today is everybody's having a big debate about abortion, and you know, it's the same old thing where people are like, you know, oh, pro-choice is the best. No, pro-life is the best. Blah, 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 blah. And they're arguing with each other. And I totally get that, you know, because I am primarily, for the most part, pro-life. I do believe in women having options in the case of sexual assault or in the case of extreme medical issues where, you know, a pregnancy could put their life in danger. Then yes, I do believe that they should be afforded that option, and that should be a choice to be on the table. Now, that said, this isn't an issue about who's right, whether you're pro-life or pro-choice. I want people to understand this leak, the Supreme Court leak in itself, is a problem because it is meant to undermine the judicial branch. Every other branch in our country's government has already been compromised or undermined in some form or fashion. Yep. Okay? So this is an operation to blow up the court, essentially, or turn it on its head, because what you are seeing is that people are going to lose confidence in the Supreme Court. And when that happens, and people feel they have no institutions left, you're going to see a lot of chaos, a lot of violence. And if you thought the Summer of Love was crazy, well, that's just tip of the iceberg here. But there's so much more to this, so many more layers. And, you know, I outlined it last night because Jack Posobiec put out a tweet where he said, you know, this is 100% an op. And I agreed with him because it is. You could see it from top to bottom. Mm-hmm. I mean, absolutely. You know, if you go through and you look at just the way this was set up, this has been going on for a while, as you pointed out, Ita.
Yeah. Well, you look at it, each of the justices has, God, how many clerks working for them? I think there's a total, it's like 32 to, or is it 30? Is it 30 some clerks? Okay. I think it's like maybe 6 to 8 clerks per justice they have on their staff, something like that, in that range. So you have, you know, this leak didn't come from any of the justices who are right-leaning. It didn't.
No.
It's that would make no sense. So you've got your 4 left-leaning justices. This came from one of their clerks, and they have a suspect, I believe. I can't remember his name. I think he might be like of Indian descent, maybe. Mm-hmm. I saw. I think it was the Quartering did a video on
the
it.
The guy looked like a fucking Indian scammer from.
Yeah, he looks like somebody that would be like a telemarketer,
working one of them call centers.
Yeah, telling you his name is like David, David Smith from Iowa.
I am David Smith. You need tech support. You have
hello.
I have the virus.
I am David Smith from Iowa. I live in Iowa City, Iowa, with my wife and 3 kids and golden retriever. Did you reset your router? No, but seriously though, this is a destabilization tactic. This is Marxism 101. That's 100%. This can absolutely. So you're gonna have now what you're gonna see is like you made the call back. You harkened back to the Summer of Love with the St. Floyd of fentanyl riots. That was planned and propagated. This is the exact same way. So you're going to have these justices are going to be threatened. Their lives are going to be threatened because the people that the lemmings that are going to fall for this whole leak and think that, oh my God, they're taking more abortions. I'm a libertarian. I look at it from a moral standpoint. Kind of like you, I like the way you put it about, in cases of like sexual assault, extreme medical, but
Safe, legal,
should,
but rare.
Yes. Somebody put that in the chat. Absolutely. That's absolutely the way it should be used. It's not birth control. It's not that false. If you cannot, at least, wear something, Jesus Christ. I mean, come on.
I mean, we have condom, we have
right.
yeah,
there's all kinds of prophylactic contraceptive devices
There's-
that can be
yeah.
used.
Right.
So-
it's
and
not
adoption after that. It's,
Right,
there's
yeah.
so many layers.
And what you guys are saying is exactly right. Abortion is not laissez-faire birth control to just say,
No.
oh, well, I mean,
But
it
I
should be
had,
done for a lifestyle choice.
yeah.
You see
exactly.
these people on like TikTok and they use it like they brag about it. It's disgusting. As somebody who, like, my wife and I, we lost a child before we had our son, that, and to see people squat, but the people that are getting these abortions, honestly, I look at it like I don't agree with the methods, but I agree with the end result, because those are the people that should not be raising children. Let's be honest. They shouldn't. If they're that fucking irresponsible, excuse me, I know we're less than a half hour in. If you're that irresponsible, then my God, don't procreate.
Well, yeah, exactly. Don't fucking
Do not.
procreate.
Do not procreate.
I would
Because
disagree with you if we hadn't already have like stripped away natural selection's ability to take care of that shit for us. Modern medicine has fucked us over.
See?
Well, the thing is, our guest of honor is here. Janet has appeared in the chat, so I'm assuming she'll be in the studio in not too distant future. Okay, so but yeah, getting back to our point here, yeah, the at the core of this is a strategic goal to intimidate any opposition to extreme liberal issues and yield control of the court to the globalist extremist in order to further control the United States and the world. That's exactly what it is, folks. It's power and control. Same old story. And don't for a second be distracted with the humdrum, pro-choice versus pro-life argument, when this is so much more fundamentally important, because they are sabotaging your institutions.
That's the exact problem that I have with this whole scenario. Is Roe v. Wade was one of the first steps taken by the Supreme Court of them doing the legislature's job. They were legislating from the bench, and that is I can't fucking stand every time the Supreme Court does that. And this is them actually going back, and if you read what Alito had been writing about this and his opinion that he put out, that they're going to be, supposedly be putting forward as the ruling on it, he's basically saying that this was the courts taking away the rights of the states. This should go down to each state making a decision as to whether or not they want to do it. And I personally am, for moral reasons, against abortion. I'll even just call it feticide most of the time. Now, I understand there's, of course, like Etep was saying earlier, there's reasons why
there's
people might need to have
extenuating
one done.
circumstances.
Of course,
in certain,
of course.
Absolutely.
And a lot of the laws that are made that are designed to withhold it, like here in Georgia where I live, we have the heartbeat bill, which is at 6 weeks, which basically makes it illegal without making it illegal. And it's one of those things of the problems with some of these laws is it can make it difficult for doctors to perform necessary surgeries, an emergency abortion.
You also have to be careful, because you don't want to make it to where, again, there's women that have a medical issue or something like that, and
Exactly.
they have to run to a back alley and have a coat hanger abortion. You don't want that to happen.
I don't want that to happen. And overall, but my opinion is, despite me personally being against it, I have no problem with each state making up their own mind on that. And if they
It
want to
should
have
be
it,
down to states' rights.
exactly, and each state should determine, and you vote for your representative to be able to do that. And that's part of the problem with the Supreme Court legislating from the bench, and they're finally starting to pull back on that with the Roe v. Wade decision. It looks like putting more power back into the representatives' hands, which are determined by the people.
Yeah, well, we're sitting here on a rant, and I want to introduce Janet because she just got here. So welcome finally to our guest, Janet from Another Planet. It's great to see you, Janet.
I'm
I'm glad that you joined us.
I'm sorry I'm late.
Oh, that's okay.
I kept waiting for it to come up, and I was like, what's going on? If you hadn't sent me that other message, I was still sitting there. So thank you very much. I appreciate it. But I agree with Free Speech Gaming. I think it should be up to the states, period. If you don't like your state, move.
States' rights.
That's right. That's
And,
what
I'm sure that all of us here agree that states' rights is probably the most important thing, because generally that's what the country was founded on. With states' rights, it's up to the states for the major decisions to be made. The government is only supposed to make the major decisions when there's something big that needs federal oversight. Otherwise, it's up to the states, period. And we've gotten so far away from that over the years that so many things that don't need to be federalized have been federalized.
But that just leads to the budget deficit, though, because the federal government is so bloated with useless agent. I mean, they have the Department of Environmental Quality and the Department of Natural Resources. They're the same thing.
Right.
They're the exact, and there's it's a ridiculous waste of money. I mean, they pay for these asinine studies that are about nothing. Let's study what the effects of this rock moving a quarter of an inch every 6 months is, and we're going to spend $5 million on it. It's like, what? Like, how's the rock moving? Never mind. Why are we spending money on this? And that just it's ridiculous, and it just puts us, like, the GDP dropped. How much was it? Like, it dropped. It dropped a significant amount. Our GDP dropped. That's not good. That's it was like a point. Terrible. That's terrible.
1.4. Right.
Yeah, I knew it was around a point or something. I didn't want to misquote, but yeah, that's ridiculous. And I mean, literally, okay, so you're talking about states' rights. There's a huge problem with states like I live in Michigan. It's it's been a blue state now. I don't know. I mean, and it's basically because of 3 counties. I live in a more rural type area. There's only about 12,000 people in the city I live. But if you look at, basically the entire state is red except for Wayne, Genesee, and I believe it's Ingham County, where Lansing, the capital, is. Outside of that, pretty much outside of little pockets, the entire state is red. But land doesn't vote, people vote, and supposedly, But I said, you look at overreach. Our governor is completely dependent on the federal government for. I mean, she's incompetent. Her administration, Whitmer's, she's responsible for as many deaths as Fredo in New York. There, Cuomo.
Absolutely.
So
she did the same shit. Just dump people off in nursing homes, but.
And you get these people in these like Detroit, in the suburbs there, they're blue, and these are the govern me, like I said off air, these are the govern me harder daddy people. They want that. They want subjugation. They want everything to be done for them and told to them, because they don't have the mental fortitude to process and live their lives. So they need to be told how, like good little worker bees. And that's a failure at a fundamental level in education, which is another mess here in this country. Which, I mean, and you talk about all these problems, and then look at the dissemination of disinformation we have now. We have the basically Goebbels is in his grave just right now, laughing that evil Yahtzee laugh, because the Biden administration has basically started the Ministry of Truth now.
Oh,
So
yeah.
imagine the timing of starting a basic. That's what I'm going to call it. It's the Ministry of Truth. You know, you have the Ministry.
That is what it is.
Timed out with all this stuff with the Supreme Court now. So is it me, or am I Alex Jonesing it here and connecting dots that aren't there? But the timing of all of this.
I was going to say
Just-
something about that, the timing of it, because if you think about it, Antifa, all those other groups that came out and did all the rioting and everything, or well, you can't call it rioting, whatever they call it, about them being upset about this whole decision by the SCOTUS. Okay, them coming out in record numbers. Do you think that our government will be able to have a chance to say the same things that Trudeau did to his people, shutting down our country so that we have to be staying home and have to do mail-in ballots and all that bullshit? Do you think that's going to happen?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, if you pay attention to and I want to get to Tony's comment here in a second, Blue-Eyed Rookery in the base, but if you pay attention to yesterday's leak, and probably within 15-20 minutes, they had barricades going up outside the Supreme Court, and then almost on cue, you had a fuck ton of protesters. Where did they show up from? I don't know. It's almost as if they were dropped right the fuck off.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean,
and-
I used to live in that area. There's a lot of people who are basically government shills. They're the govern me harder daddy.
right.
Step on my neck.
I understand
people.
that, Stephen.
Or maybe
but,
they knew everything in advance.
but
I
I think it was intentional. Yeah, they did this because they want to try and put public opinion on at the Supreme Court and get them to change their decision on it, so states can't make the decisions for themselves.
Well, it's not just that. It's again, this is an undermining tactic. This is a rule by fear type of thing again, because we don't like the fact that the people are getting out of line and they're speaking out. So let's have another example of rule by fear. So what are we going to do? We're going to deploy the jackboots. And this is the shit that we're dealing with, man. And I am sick and tired of pussyfooting around the issue. And people again they get caught up in the minutia of, like, in this case, like a pro-life versus pro-choice, and just yelling at each other instead of paying attention to what the fuck is happening outside your window.
Yep.
You need to stay eyes on the prize. What is happening around you, not just that particular issue. That's the issue they want to confuse you with. And yes, it's an issue worthy of discussion, but it's not an issue worthy of discussion when we're facing, authoritarianism and staring it in the face.
Mm-hmm.
I will say with the Ministry of Truth thing is the one silver lining to it is we can see the type of directions that our Supreme Court is going. And if the Ministry of Truth, which I don't think this is their intention, but if they were to start fining people, that is eventually going to work its way up to the court systems and hit the Supreme Court. And the way they've made decisions on free speech, instances for the past 80 plus years really has been in one direction. They always go in favor of free speech. So there's that. But what the government is doing nonetheless with it is still bad. They're going to be doing what they did to Facebook during the pandemic and tell them we don't want people to talk about this. And certain companies, now that Twitter's no longer on board with them, they're trying to create the council, but most of the companies are going to go on board with it. I think a lot of this Ministry of Truth stuff is actually in response to the Twitter being bought out and becoming a free speech zone. And unfortunately, a lot of the precedent was set up by Trump. And they've even said that a lot of this stuff that they're using was set up from Trump because of his Section 230 arguments. Which is why I've been for a good 6 months now. I was on the side of 230 reform. I had my mind changed by Sean Malone over at Foundation for Economic Education. He's a very libertarian YouTuber, does a great series called Out of Frame. He completely changed my mind, and I have been on board with the wording of Section 230. It's not great the way it works out. You know, we have privately owned companies who can go in one direction politically, and I mean, even my side is being censored, but the alternative is government or court, enforcement of either the laws, or we're going to have the government enforcing what is considered grossly offensive. So I'd almost rather be, the free market decide it. We had Elon buy Twitter. That's already becoming, more open, more free speech oriented. So, over time, we got to let these things work themselves out without the government taking control.
Let me let me address Tony's comment real quick. Tony, I think what this was 100% a subversion and, destabilization up. And that is what they want, because they've already got the executive branch fucked up. They've got, the legislative fucked up. Why not fuck up the judicial? And they want to have all of that apparatus under control. Again, we go back to the whole concept of power and control. Hail to NB Geek. I see that you're in the chat. Nice to see you. Rabbit Slug Ouchies is here. There's some other people that slid in. TWTG Content. I know Stephen Walton slid in here. So hail to Stephen, and we got a lot of people that have been latecomers that popped in, but we've got Kathy Giles that's in here. Great to see you, Kathy.
Sister.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Thanks, Kathy.
And of course, your buddy Vanessa is here, Janet. I saw Lady Vanessa Bond. What a sweetheart for being here. So, and Vanessa usually catches my shows when she can. So, love Vanessa. Vanessa's good people. Real sweetheart. But, the thing is we've run into this whole power grab and everything else, and this is a problem. The globalists are making a real play to essentially take over the entire apparatus of America right now, because they've got all the useful idiots they could want with the progressive movement. That was their vehicle to just infiltrate that, take that over, be at the head of that. And they just got everything cruising towards taking care of taking control of every apparatus that they want. Tony says, but Drew and panel, another summer of love would be a great advertisement for the Republican Party. If cities are burning again, I say bring it on and punish liberal cities more.
I have no problem with that, honestly.
Yeah.
I really don't. If okay, this is my thing, and this has always been my thing when it comes to riots and things of the like, demonstrations. Like, having a demonstration is one thing, a peaceful protest, that's a hallmark of of our country, which is say it with me, kids, a constitutional republic, not a democracy. Constitutional republic. And that's lost upon even the media. They get it wrong. Oh, our democracy. Well, yeah, it can be dangerous to our democracy. We don't have a democracy. We have a constitutional republic. So I'm not worried about that. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Enough people in the press or politicians, Hollywood, all these people all saying the same thing over and over and over and over. Guess what? Next thing you know, everybody's saying the same thing, and they all just follow in step.
Yeah.
That's
it's an echo chamber.
That's right. But the thing is, the people are falling for it. Look how many people are still driving around wearing a mask in their car by themselves.
Oh,
so it works.
Oh,
it does work. All of this is working.
I don't want to be that person. Like, I never say anything to anybody, but because I still see it when I'm out shopping. I'm like, are you even the Fauci admitted that the pandemic's over. It's over. I sold all my candles. My website drdeath.com is shut down. But I mean, he even admitted it's over. And it's like it means they've profited all they can profit off this. So now it's on to the next thing. And
well,
yeah,
he also said that the pandemic's over for now. They knew that they weren't
Yeah.
going to be able to keep it up forever, so we're taking a 6-month break. That's what's going to
Yep.
happen when winter rolls around again. It's going to be Plandemic 2.0. It's
Yeah.
happening.
I can't
It's
wait for
never
another
over.
long, cold winter of death.
Yeah.
Gosh, I can. But I'm really worried because the
You're
people
wrong. It's
so
never over.
gullible. They believe everything. I mean, they believe anything that's laid in front of them as long as it's
Yeah.
shiny. I mean, and it's scary. It's
Yep.
really scary. Where are we going to end up with all the chaos that's going on? And then they're adding more on a daily basis to keep everybody looking away from the real problem. So we got to figure out what the real problem is
Yeah.
before we're all enveloped. And it's
Mhm.
too late then.
See,
Yeah.
they would have. They would have been conducting impeachment proceedings on Trump by now.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh God.
Absolutely. You mean again?
And
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
yeah.
That'd be
Again and again.
by now.
Yeah.
They're
Why,
like,
why
"No."
aren't they trying to impeach the fucking potato head?
Because
they
they
Because-
know
because-
who's next. They're not ready to get Pelosi in charge yet. The plan is to get her in charge. But yeah,
Oh, the Crypt Keeper?
they're going to try and they're going to use the
But-
25th Amendment to get Biden out of office, and then they're going to impeach Kamala Harris, which is probably going to take about a month for her to do something fucking stupid enough.
She'll just
Yeah.
Maybe that's
Yep.
why they
She'll laugh or
she'll
do
just
these things so they can
Well,
get something.
I actually, as soon as, and let me grab this. Let me grab this super chat from Tony here. Inter arma means silent legis. The sooner you can translate that and actually understand what it means, the sooner the country can go back on track. So that, and he's not wrong about that. And
No.
as free speech said, hail to TZ Burton. What's up? Great to see you, TZ Burton. And yeah, I want to actually piggyback off that topic, and go over to the Russia-Ukraine thing for a second, because we had yesterday or the day before, we had all of a sudden, interestingly enough, Pelosi and other officials over there meeting with Zelensky. Why is that? Anybody want to answer the question? Why is that?
Charisma.
they want to make sure their kids are doing a good job and get paid.
Yeah. Have you
Much.
have you been paying Hunter still? Yeah.
Well, the funny thing about it is this, okay? You pay attention to how our economy is waning, and yes, Solis has to just hit it right on the damn head.
Yep.
This is just like if you know how, for example, and I'm going to put this in gamer terms, folks. So yes, I know I'm a huge nerd, but I'm putting this in gamer terms right now. Think of this almost like an MMO, and the devs are trying to find a currency sink. So their currency sink just happens to be the fucking Ukraine.
Well, it's
Except
war.
it's
War in
not
general.
just a currency sink. It's they're sinking the whole fucking economy.
Well, it's war in general. It's the same thing that oh crap, Julian Assange pointed out to us, like 7-8 years ago with WikiLeaks, that the goal of the war in Afghanistan, and they're doing the same thing again, but the goal of the war in Afghanistan was not a quick 2 to 3 year insurgency into the country. It was a 20-year long drawn out war, so they could move money from the public sector, to basically tax money, to the private sector, to companies that they own stock in. They're doing the same thing again. The public opinion on the war in Afghanistan had gotten really bad over a long time, and we wanted to pull out no matter what. And they did it. They did a really shit job of it so that they could, eventually, either make ourselves look weak to China. Who fucking knows why they did such a shit pullout? Maybe Joe just slammed his hand down on the table and went, "It's time to get out of the Afghanistans." And now they're doing the same thing in Ukraine. They want more money in their pocket. They saw their portfolios were drying up coming from Northrop Grumman and Boeing.
Janet brings up a great point too. I think it has something to do with the leaked video of our Lord and Chief President naked with that young tied up girl. Yeah, funny what they found on that laptop and how they are desperately trying to dance around it. And I'm going to go ahead and let you take the con here for a minute, Mr. Free Speech Gaming, if you could so be esteemed and address the panel, and also welcome in the other Stephen, Mr. Tree Bark himself, Stephen Walton. And
I came here to see what ETEP looks like when he talks seriously, because it was freaking me out. I was like, is that Pete?
But I need to step away and hit the men's room for a sec. I'll be right back.
Yeah, welcome, Stephen Walton. Glad to have you on here.
Thank you very much. Good to see you, Stephen.
Yeah.
All Stevens are good Stevens. Good
All
to
Stevens
see
are
you.
good Stevens.
That's
You just need to spell your name right. That's the problem.
Nah, it's what I like the Stefan. I like the Stefan.
Okay, you like the
spelling.
Step Hen. Yeah.
But did any of you guys see that video?
Oh, with
Jules
old President Puddinhead with the young girl. So
With
I had heard
Little
that
dangler.
yeah,
He's
it
nude.
yeah, it looks bad. I had heard, I don't know how real this story is. It could have just been, opposition put up as a cover up, but apparently that's actually someone else. I don't know the truth around that. It certainly looks a lot like him though. I don't know why Hunter would have photos of somebody else on his laptop.
The big guy. The big
Yeah.
guy.
They're all freaks.
Yeah, that's it goes. But the thing is, it just seems kind of convenient that comes out almost instantly. I'm trying to share it through DMs only, and nobody can see it because Twitter won't let me share it on a DM. So I had to download it to my computer so I'd be able to send it to people so they could look at it themselves. And I sent it to Drew and to Wes so they could see it and make their own decisions. But we should be able to make our own decisions of what we see and where it came from.
Yeah,
But how miraculous that all this stuff just goes pow, 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 pow after that pops out. I just want to see what else is on that laptop.
I mean, we've been waiting for years, Janet, to see what's on that laptop.
No, and the thing is, I thought Giuliani and them know what's on it. So when are we going to get to see it?
After they got him out of the White House, because they had this information back during the last election, didn't want to release it because it would have impacted the election. I mean, I'd like to know if the person that everyone's saying is going to be the savior, not everybody, but half the country is saying is going to be the savior of everything, is involved in these types of activities.
I would too, but it just seems like, I don't know. It just seems like there's so much misinformation out there. And in a way, I think that it's I always say, Biden administration.
You're not far off.
Yeah.
I always feel like it's them that's doing all this misdirection because nobody knows what side it's coming from. And if you get enough of it, just like crying wolf, you whine. So nobody wants to listen, right?
It's also after we had years of them putting out stories about Trump. We had the Russian prostitute peeing on him. We had the whole Stormy Daniels thing, which I think he for some dumb reason did cheat on his smoking wife with Stormy Daniels and paid her off. But who cares? This is his private affair. So I want him to be a good leader and a good economic ruler for our country. Moving things forward. I care about his foreign policy. I don't care about what he gets up to in his bedroom. As long as kids aren't involved, that's where I draw the line.
Right.
Look at though. The thing was real quick on the Stormy Daniels thing because I voted for Trump twice. I have no issue saying that because as far as candidates go, I looked at where's my vote. Am I going to put my vote in with like somebody like Gary Johnson or am I going? I was like, no, I'm gonna try to put it where it'll make the biggest difference, and yeah, the whole Stormy Daniels thing with Trump. I was like, this dude is an OG. He cheated on his wife and then made Stormy sign an NDA, which she violated, had to pay him back hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then her bitch ass attorney got arrested and he's in prison for trying to embezzle from Nike. You tried to embezzle, you tried to extort. I'm sorry, not embezzle, extort. You tried to extort money from a global, multi-billion-dollar global corporation, you dumb son. The best thing.
Nike does child slavery. You think they're gonna fuck
Yeah.
around with some dumb lawyer
Right?
out of New York? Like really?
They're like, who the hell is this little Lex Luthor looking asshole? They're like, nah, get out of here. When Tucker Carlson kept calling him the creepy porn lawyer, he's like, I bet you won't call me that again. Tucker's like, you're right, creepy porn lawyer. I won't. And I was just like, oh,
Yeah.
Tucker.
I would
Tucker
do
was
it
hard
too.
to paint. Oh, hell yeah. They ain't gonna do nothing.
I would do it too, bro. You know, and that's the thing. Most of these people won't do shit. Tony, Blue Eye Root Korean the base, he's on fire with the chats today. Drew and panel, I will simplify how the world works by asking one question. Hold my beer, here goes. If your goal was to destroy the United States forever, would you do anything different? Bam.
No, because the people that are trying to destroy it right now are winning. They
Mhm.
are.
They
They're winning.
absolutely are.
They
Because again, you go back to just the operational aspect of it. It has been executed to a high level the whole time.
Mhm.
It is unfolded in layers. It is unfolded precise. And, you can see it. You don't have to be, the sleuth of all sleuths. You don't have to be the Sherlock Holmes of this generation. All you have to do is connect the dots yourself, folks. I invite you. Look, all you have to do is go to pictures from yesterday. The barricades going up outside the Supreme Court. If there's pictures that you can find with timestamps, that'll tell you easily. Pay attention to the composition of the crowd. It is very clear that a lot of that crowd had to have been bust in. That's not that people are not going to fill up that quickly and assemble that quickly from a local area, as opposed to having a crowd, almost a ready-made crowd ready to go.
Yeah, but the thing is, basically, they don't care. I mean, they do whatever they want, whenever they want, and nobody does anything. Nobody cares. It's
No.
all you do is open your eyes and walk.
Well, no, because they have all because with them, with people sympathetic to their cause in power right now, they have control of every federal apparatus that there is.
Yep.
And now including this new Ministry of Truth. All right.
Oh yeah.
Essentially, just from saying the things that I say, showing you guys the information that I show, and talking about the subjects that I talk about, all right, theoretically, given the purview of what this new organization is, I could be branded at any particular time that they wanted an enemy of the state. I honestly, I could, by the definition of what they have going right now. Now, couple that with the fact that I was live streaming from a certain place on a certain day in January. Yeah, I probably am on a list right now. I guarantee you, at the very least, I'm probably being watched.
I mean, the current structure of what they're going to be doing with our Misinformation and Disinformation Council, aka, I'm calling it Minitru. It's they're not going to be able to, at least I sincerely doubt they'll be able to put any actual charges forth, but this is setting up the framework to be able to do that in the future. All it would take is massive support. If they could actually get a lot of people, and not just like people on Twitter, but, give it a couple of generations, give them enough time to indoctrinate more children. And when they become voters, they could get to the point where they could institute more restrictions on free speech and actually get away with it. We've had times like this in the past. I mean, hell, it's only been 7 years since gay marriage was made legal. And before that, both sides of the aisle were against that, completely against it, which most people, especially like myself on the libertarian side, think that it should be legal for gay people to be able to get married. It's a government contract. I don't want to force the churches to do anything.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't take long for minds to change about this shit. And it's very easy for people to go the opposite direction with something like free speech, especially if they keep labeling it as hate speech, which the Supreme Courts have already ruled like 20 years ago isn't a thing.
Well, listen, the easily led, the easily influenced will be the first to succumb to this nonsense, which obviously you can see the type of people. All you have to do is pay attention to Lib's TikTok account, and she puts those people on blast daily. And you can see the type of people that fall for this. Those are like the first ones, because they're fully indoctrinated following all this ideology around, like the Pied Piper. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. But you know, the big thing in Soul Assassin hit on one as well, and I'm going to transition topics in a second because we got to talk about this. Another food plant went up in flames, by the way.
Wow.
You know, multiple food processing plants are going up in flames, and all the media is about shit like the Amber Turd case. Yes,
Yeah.
and that's exactly it, and that is by design. You know, this is again to throw you off. And that's why when you go back to the SCOTUS leak from yesterday, that's why it's so important to remember what it's really about and peeling back the layers than just automatically, you know, getting gaslit into the whole pro-life versus pro-choice thing. And yes, as I said before, that's a great discussion to have. That should always be an open dialogue amongst people because, yes, it is a major topical issue. But there is, and not to lose sight of the importance of the fact that the government is being overrun and taken over by people that are using it to essentially subjugate everyone into authoritarianism. And that is not all right. And that is why we need to really be more observant, and we need to also have more discernment. Now, again, you know, this thing with the food processing plants, you know, when we first talked about it a week or so ago, the importance of this is the fact that, look, I'm not sure all of you in the chat, I don't know if you all believe that this is an engineered food shortage and it is 100% intentional, but it is. It is. There should be no question on that, because it is not a coincidence when you have, God, the list is growing. I think we're up to 21 food processing plants now that have had some sort of mishap where it's incapacitated their ability to function. And why is this happening? Well, you know, part of it is to force you onto, and if you go back to the United Nations website and just look up Agenda 2030, look up the stuff that they want you to eat. Look up the stuff that they want you to do in the name of, quote, sustainability. Okay, this is all part of the plan.
Destabilization.
Yes.
Destabilize the country as much as they can. They've been doing that for years by putting us in different check boxes and making sure that we notice the differences of one another and we don't unify in any way. They've been doing it by keeping information from us. I mean, how hard you talk about connecting the dots earlier. You've got to go out and find those dots now, because the information that we're getting from all of media is censored, rewritten, presented in a different light. I mean, blatantly so, using words and terminology that are opposites of what their meaning may be. And this is just another step in the direction of destabilizing us as people, creating worry, panic, and anxiety so that we are more easily controlled and by looking for a savior from the very people that are causing this destabilization.
Yeah, a lot of the young people.
Go ahead, Janet.
Sorry, a lot of people on TikTok, they're younger, okay, than people on Facebook are getting older. You got, and Twitter, you got, like, they're kind of in the middle, you know, mostly if you look at and figure out things like that. Each month that goes by, it's going to get harder and harder for these people that are uber, you know, on their phone 24/7, wanting this, like that. You see what I mean?
Right.
Okay, those people are the first ones that are going to start panicking when they start going, oh, I called Uber, I can't get a ride. Gas is too expensive. Or I called for my food 2 hours ago, I didn't get it. And they're going to be calling and bitching and moaning because they didn't get what they wanted. And then more and more, they all build up and they start getting on social media, griping and complaining about it. And then it's causing a storm, you know, a whirlwind going on. And then it's going to slowly start spreading out away from the cities into the suburbs and then into the country.
And then we will have a mass toilet paper shortage, Janet.
Yeah, or whatever. That's a shortage and everything. But to me,
No.
it's symptomatic to me. Because we have 6 months after this month? Before elections, right? 6 months. We got 6 months left. How much chaos do you think is going to happen from between today, each month, as we get shrinkage of what they're able to get at the store? People are going to start fighting over boxes of cereal, dog food, cans of tuna, whatever they can get. And it's going to be terrible, especially when the stores can't provide in the restaurants and stuff for all these people that use Uber and whatever to get their meals. That's when we're going to start seeing more chaos.
Damn, that is a hell of a point, because there's a very good chance that we're going to start seeing footage come out on our social media, guys, of people fighting in stores over food.
Well, I mean, it's better than they don't have the COVID narrative anymore to scheme us into doing any type of shenanigans that may have happened in the last election. So now they're going to create chaos out front and center, especially with all of Janet was bringing up the laptop earlier, the images and the things that are coming out of this laptop that we're not allowed to talk about, even though it may concern people in powerful positions. They're going to, same thing with the Amber Heard trial. While these things happen, it is all about smoke and mirrors, keeping us from being able to put this information together or be able to see what is going on with the people behind the curtain.
I mean, I have teenagers. Okay. So, they're fine, but as soon as they can't get their cheeseburger or their donut in the morning or their latte or whatever it is before they're going to their classes in college or whatever, then they're like, what? I can't believe I sat in line for 3.5 hours and I couldn't get the meal that I wanted. I'd ordered it before I even went there to pick it up, whatever. But the thing is, that's what's important to them. It's when they can't get it, that's when they start causing chaos. So as soon as those people in the colleges and the first going out on their own, high schoolers or whatever, those are the ones that are going to start the problems, where they're on social media bashing all these people because who are they going to blame? And one or two of them are going to pick a certain person. And they're going to blame them. They're going to have fights because somebody got in line before they did to get the burger, the last one. People shoot each other over a pair of shoes. You're going to see them killing each other over a burger. I mean, it's terrible to think about it.
Yeah, it's also it's also kind of a scary thing when you think about how a lot of cities, especially, and this isn't just a problem with teenagers, this is also a problem with adults living in cities. A lot of them don't know how to cook. So if they don't have because a lot of them, they don't have, and it's not entirely their fault. It's because they don't have places that, don't pay attention to that. But a lot of them don't have grocery stores they can go to pick up food. A lot of them weren't taught by their parents, because there's a lot of mothers who just don't know how to cook anymore because they were never taught by their parents. I remember Gordon Ramsay had a campaign going back, this is like 15, 20 years ago, that was literally called Get Women Back in the Kitchen, because he noticed that it was 30% of the women in London didn't know how to cook.
We're also talking about a generation, this generation, the Zoomers, who did not either have grandparents, parents, or live through hard times themselves. We've had a lot of abundance in as far as produce and the ability to get things in the last 20 years. So, they don't have the same type of stamina when it comes to, or understanding when it comes to knowing how to deal with a shortage or how to deal with, any kind of lack of supply. Those of us that have lived in harder generations, or our grandparents that went through depression or went through depressions, we understand how to act. It's going to be a complete mind F to these kids.
Oh,
they're not
100%, Stephen, because listen, you and I came from the latchkey kid generation.
Exactly.
So we know when there's hard times how to adapt. Mm-hmm. These kids don't. And part of it was intentionally, they pulled those programs out of schools to teach them anything like, basic skills like home ec. Like we had home ec class. They pulled that out of, the high school curriculum largely across the country. Why
they even had that when I was in middle school. We had home ec. We learned basic skills. Like I know how to sew. It's not a skill I've had to use because, there's, plenty of stores I can go buy a t-shirt. But if need be, I know how to sew. I know how to cook. I learned all these things in school, and really, I knew most of them beforehand because my parents had taught me.
We have graduates from high school right now that can't even do a checkbook.
And the pay right, and the parents aren't teaching them because the
both
parents
parents
are working, or in a lot of cases they're just neglectful and lazy, and
Well,
they don't.
Well, I mean, Drew, when we grew up, our educational institutions, public educational, knew what they were doing. They actually educated.
Right.
Today,
Yeah.
they're being told that they can be.
They're indoctrinating now.
Yeah, they're
instead of educating.
indoctrinating. Exactly. They're not teaching them anything other
Yeah.
than the narrative that
Cool.
needs to be pressed.
Let me before Shellback makes his point, let me go ahead and catch up with the chat, because we got a lot. The chat's been on fire. We got a lot of people making great points. So Tony says it's 32 plants this year. Awesome one. Hail to the awesome one. Great to see you, buddy. Awesome one said it's the shaking of foundations. Yes.
Yep.
It's also getting rid of institutions. Awesome one. The U.S. used to be in Great sort of, yeah, in a way. And hail to you, just another red shirt. Great to see you, brother. Nelson the gentleman is here, and hail to Nelson. Soul Assassin says, lives TikTok videos of all the Chinese storehouses with spoiled food while the country is going through a famine is sus. Yes, absolutely.
They were destroying their gardens too because they had COVID.
Yeah.
All their family gardens.
And I just thought about something along with the food shortages. One of our biggest exports in America is food. So this is just going to be another step to harm our economy.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes, it is. Our economy is on life support at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Time Prophet said mass toilet paper shortage due to copy. Oh, man.
The COVID thing, you guys brought up the COVID thing. It's still a thing. Like it's not gone away. It's just on the back burner. Okay, they will, because like it's been said, there's still people walking around with masks on, even though there's no mandates, none of that. But they're still walking around, so they still got that shit in their head. Okay, and you talk about the indoctrination in the education system, and people say division, but they're unifying people, right? They're unifying the quote unquote POCs, okay, against all of us people of a pale nature, and either it's
Well,
them,
I don't know.
and it's them and the self-hating white people too, so it's
Right, white guilt.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, they do all of that so they can have an enemy, because that makes everything easier. If you have an enemy, you'll get more people on your side to do the most horrible things you could possibly imagine.
Right.
Every authoritarian nation has had to have someone that they blame all of the problems on, and then they're going to blame all of the problems that they're manufacturing, like the food shortages and economic stresses, on. They're going to figure out a way to blame it on white people, because that's the current enemy that they're using. Because we've been bashed for decades, and most of us don't do anything about it.
Well, because we're the majority. We're still the majority, and so we're the ergo since we're the majority, we're the oppressors, and so we're the easy target. Just like freaking Russia. But I don't know the point I'm trying to get to. Sorry.
Yeah. Tony made a good comment here. The winner will be the Holodomor, Mao's Revolution, the Great Depression, balled up into one. After the calling of the masses and blaming it on Putin and shortages, this is how the elite get utopia. Yes, indeed.
Well, when the chaos starts I think it's already happening in some areas where people are siphoning gas out of people's cars while they're in the store shopping. But just wait. When people start coming out with their groceries, put in their trunk, and they're robbed of their groceries.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, Brutal Morning would just back you up on that, Jenny. He says, getting shaked in the parking lot for a gallon of milk and stuff
terrible.
like that. Yeah,
that's about that. It's about happen. It's going to get real for a lot of these people, especially in the cities. The cities are the first place that this kind of stuff's going to start going down.
Well,
it's
and that's why you practice your 2A.
Mhm.
Yeah, I shoot. So
And in places where there's a lot of gun owners, you're probably going to see less issues because
Mhm.
an armed society is a polite society.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, and Lindsay, I'm glad you brought that up. I learned how to fill out a job application and balance a checkbook when I was in high school. They literally taught it in class. Yes, they did. And the thing is I wish that these businesses, because everybody decided to go paperless and be all chic, so they got rid of actual job applications. I wish they would go back to paper job applications. And, I wish that, balance. Well, I think balancing a checkbook still is a thing. Because at least my mom, I know before mom passed up until the end, she was still trying to balance a checkbook the old school way. So, I guess that still is a thing. But, yeah.
But-
So what do you
But,
think is going to happen when we have the big pulse or something like that, and it takes out all the electronics for a little while, all these applications online, all the banking online, all this other stuff to go along with all the chaos right before voting, because Russia sends some kind of pulse or whatever in, even though I don't think it'd be Russia that does it, but
No.
happen. What do you think is going to happen with all the people that are already hungry? They're already mad. They're already angry. They're already tired of doing without, and they don't know how to deal with anything because they've never had to deal with anything.
Learn
You
how
know,
to-
Manufactured chaos.
Everything.
if there's ever an EMP attack on the grid, I can guarantee you it will be probably organized by the CIA, and it will be DARPA.
Yeah.
It's going to be from within. All of this is mostly from within. But if there is, an outside influence on it, well, you look no further than China. But again, we're not allowed to say that because, China wouldn't do anything like that. Yeah, right. Get the frack out of here. But the thing
Well, they're not grapping about China. They're not grapping about China because our store shelves are full of crap made from there.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had this article pulled up, and this is obviously whatever this Daily Press site is. This is again, you can tell that they're a huge left-leaning site. Fire at Chesapeake soybean plant was relatively small, but it threw fuel on a conspiracy theory about the food supply. So already, you've got people firing off articles that say, nothing to see here. The fire at Purdue Farms soybean facility in Chesapeake on Saturday was relatively small. Firefighters had it under control about an hour after arriving, and the plant remains fully operational. It was an accidental fire. Nothing suspicious.
Well, that's just like that reporter that was saying, it's a mostly peaceful protest and there's fires and stuff burning.
Right.
So there you go. They're already starting the propaganda to make us all look like conspiracy theorists because we care about whether our house is going to be burned down or if our family's going to have food in their stomachs.
Well, this is the thing, and this is how this new Ministry of Information works. So articles like this are going to be pushed to the top of search engines and everything else because they don't want you to know. They don't want you to know. They're not going to offer a based look one way or the other. You're going to be force-fed that, it wasn't a big deal. There's nothing to see here, folks. Move on. Move along.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah.
We know better than you do. See, that's it. That's the mentality. We're stupid.
And just us questioning that, I mean, this has got to be beyond coincidence. You don't have 32 happen within like a 6-month period, and it's a coincidence. But us just making that question could be brought up by the Ministry of Truth. We're gonna either get memory hold by YouTube, or if they get their way, we'll get memory hold by YouTube, or we're gonna be taken out behind the chemical shed.
Oh yeah, Brutal Morningwood
little
says
absurd.
a kinder, gentler burning down. I love
Jeez.
it. Time Prophet says Soylent Green is made from Charlton Heston.
You know what? That Soylent Green would make you that you'd become immediately based. You would own like 50 guns from having some Heston Soylent.
Yeah, I need more fishing lures for my semi-auto fishing rods.
Lost them all in a boating accident, unfortunately.
You know, the thing is, you know, what's sad about this is I guarantee you, you know, just from the subject matter that I have on here, YouTube will very likely demonetize this stream. I can promise you they will. When I go in afterwards, they will demonetize it. Or it will have,
Janet was dropping some truth. They're definitely going to yellow it.
or yeah, it's going to be yellowed at minimum, if not just completely demonetized, because they won't allow you to talk about what's really going on. And that's why, again, I take pride in the show, because this is what this show is about. You know, I mean, I'm done sitting here and trying to play nice with these people. You know, I made a tweet earlier where, you know, I said it, and I'm just waiting for the backlash on this one, because I know somebody is going to come at me about this one, because I said, oh God, this is great. Hold on. Yeah, so I said, when someone tells me they're progressive liberal, they register in my mind as a potential threat, someone not to be trusted, and evil since they support an anti-human ideology. They don't get my respect. They do, however, make my, quote, list of enemy combatants that I keep in my head. You know, and unfortunately, you know, that's the harsh truth of it now, because most of the people that follow this are inherently evil, because that it is an anti-human ideology. And the sad thing is they don't even see it.
Well, when you're from the perspective of someone who has a hyper ideology, you don't see it. You are right. Everything else is wrong. When you're an extremist, anything outside of your extremism is wrong, and is evil, and is in fact evil. It's the same thing that any type of liar or narcissist will do to protect their own worldview that they've fabricated, to protect their illusion. If you live outside that illusion, if you contradict it, then you are evil. You are a threat, and that is how most of these far leftists. This is how they are.
Yeah,
Brutal
2 + 2
Morningwood
= 5, and you're a bigot if you don't agree.
Bigot.
Brutal Morningwood asks, American farmland's just spontaneously combusting. How much of it was the land that Bill Gates was buying? Yeah, have to wonder that. TC Burton says we are kind of transhumanist now with technology. Yeah, unfortunately, that's another harsh truth. TC Burton, you know, I mean, we can sit here and we can look at the technological advancement and the internet and everything else has brought us together communication wise, where you can talk to somebody on a moment's notice across the world. Yes. And that's great to bring new neighbors together. But on the other side, you know, some of the technological advancements and some of the things on our computers have, you know, dangerously pushed us on the road to ruin.
Well, I think that some technologies are good. I mean, if you're a person
yes,
paralyzed or paraplegic,
yes,
was 10 years ago they were testing implants in craniums that you could use a computer using your mind. You know, those types of things I think are good. Those are positive advancements. But cybernetics, just for the reason of, you know, control. For instance, the chip that they were trying to push back in the 2000s. That's a very scary idea, to have all your bank information, to have your identity on a chip, to be able to be turned off.
France is already pushing that, by the way.
And that's awful. That's something that could truly destroy people, because at that point they don't need to propagandize you or destroy your character. They can simply turn you off.
Emmanuel Macron is pushing you know, for a chip, basically.
And they don't even fully need the chip, because look at like what Trudeau did in Canada. He was shutting down, you know,
Yeah.
as long as your ideology was opposed to his, they were shutting down bank accounts. I mean, I still bring up the example of a woman who bought a T-shirt that I'm pretty sure just said like honk honk on it, and they shut down her bank account, cut her off from her own money that she has worked for.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's scary stuff. Ruth Korean says, imagine, if you will, how the government gets back at the public on abortion is they make a law where you have to get permission to have kids and families. And we'll have mandatory transgender child policies. It's scary, dude, because if it ever flips that way, you know, it's that's scary as all shit.
I mean, I don't want to have to say I'd like to have a breeding license, but if we're going to do it with the breeding license, can we get an IQ card, please, so we can make sure that the stupids aren't creating more stupids?
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Going to go down this road. Let's make it a positive.
You don't know what you're getting if you do the breeding laws, because I mean, people have had so much plastic surgery and stuff. I mean, until your baby pops out, you don't know what you got.
Well, with all the people, with all the vaccinated people running around, you wonder anymore. You know, you bang a chick that had the vax, man, is she going to have a 3-headed kid? You know, I mean, it's like.
Well,
Jesus.
the thing is, too, you could get infected yourself if you haven't been vaxxed and you're sleeping with someone who's vaxxed. I mean, what is it? How do we know we aren't getting, you know, whatever?
The shedding that they were talking about.
Yeah.
I'm getting the vax heebie-jeebies, man.
Single people that haven't been vaxxed should be scared to death about
Yeah.
getting.
I'm a pure blood too, Rabbit Slug. Absolutely.
I'm pure.
I don't want no vaccinarial diseases. Okay, y'all
Yeah.
are scaring me right now.
I love that. Need a bumper sticker.
Yeah.
Don't spread vaccinarial disease.
No vaccinarial disease. Yes.
No vaccinarial
Yes.
diseases.
Yeah, no.
I like it. Oh man.
I'd
Well,
push-
man, we
It's
really.
like, have you had herpes? Have you had herpes? I don't care. Have you had the vax?
Well, that's not far off. What the one sample that they had, what they had HIV in it. So it's like, yeah, don't give me vaccines, please. I'm good with that. You know?
Vax-AIDS. Yeah, it's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But it's true. That's what's so sad about it.
Yeah, Ezra Levant, founder of Rebel News of Canada, could not get a loan for his business from Royal Bank of Canada because of his political views. It has already started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, and that controlling of the banks is one of the big killers. You know, it's funny right now, folks, and I want to kind of share this because this is this sort of leads me into to what I'm talking about, and I'm going to share the page for Mom's.
Here, I can throw that up there.
Oh, okay. Are you?
I would help, but I don't know how to do any of that yet.
Yeah, if you just
Sorry.
want to go ahead and share that, Stephen, that would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
John, it's a boom.
But I was gonna say, folks, you know, the funds that go from this Give Send Go that I have for Mom's Memorial Fund, they go to you know, my personal bank account that I use to pay the bills right now. So let's just say, for example, let's put it in a hypothetical, they don't like something I say. Well, the people controlling the bank happen to be, if you know, you know, somebody that it has political ties. So the next thing you know, what happens? My account gets frozen because I'm telling the truth, and then all of a sudden I can't access funds anymore. I mean, this is where we're at. This is crazy.
That's what I'm talking about. Everything being electronic. I mean, I've been going to my bank and taking money out and stashing it because
Yeah.
it won't be long, and we're just going to barter and have to use cash, or we're not going to get anything. Because I really believe the government's going to turn off the till.
And I just wanted to bring this up real quick. Obviously, this is Mom's Memorial Fund. If you want to help, Free Speech Gaming put the link in the chat. It's givesendgo.com/Taylor Legacy. The goal is $20,000. I am currently at 28% of goal. We've just hit we're just about to hit the 5,800 mark. This is going to be used obviously to pay Mom's final expenses, but also to, make sure that, I can keep the home, the legal fees for the probate. And then also you have the monthly bills that need paid and everything else. So we had a number of shortfalls, unfortunately, that I didn't know about, that I found out after Mom died on certain utilities that I'm paying down. So I have all that in my lap at the moment. So yeah, every bit of what we get is going to a great cause. It's and it's really helping out. And I want to just thank everybody that has shared out the campaign, because even if you share it, you're doing a huge service to helping the cause. This is, such an amazing community between people sharing, people giving to the Memorial Fund, everything else. So I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for that, because, the response has been awesome. I just want to, let's keep the momentum going. Let's see if we can hit that goal, because, boy, at least I'll have a good shot at really keeping our family home and keeping my parents' legacy intact, which is all that I want to do, So that is what's going on with Mom's campaign in a nutshell. And then I know that there was a gentleman that I heard from that asked me today a very humble request if I would share his work on the channel. So I told him that indeed I would. So I want to take a moment and just share. This is a gentleman that I believe he is Forged. Forged USA Knives is what he's called, and this is some of his work. This is a custom handmade outdoor hunting knife. He does good work and everything else. You can follow him at Forged USA 2 on Twitter, and you can, I believe, if you DM him, you can put in an order and get custom work out of him. But he does make a quality product. It is made here in the USA, and I will support anybody, independent or otherwise, that makes everything in the United States of America. So shout out to Forged USA Knives. So
Beautiful blade.
yes,
That is
it is
beautiful.
Yes, it is. So, as I said, he reached out and just requested if I could say something on the show about it. And I told him, sure, that's no problem. And I don't know the man. I'll be honest. I don't know him well or anything. He just reached out to me and asked, and, I like to do that. If I can help people in any way, you guys know me. I always like to. So that is just where I'm at with that. But
Well,
yeah,
things like that are a good investment.
Mm-hmm.
Things like that are a good investment, especially in these days.
Yeah, absolutely. But listen, we're at the 8:15 p.m. mark, which means we're closing in on the end of the show. So I'm going to go around the panel. I'll let these amazing folks do their outros. I do want to say, thank you to ETEP. I know ETEP had to bounce earlier, so make sure you subscribe and check out ETEP's channel. He had to go for the wrestling show that he does with Tony Tone Deaf on Tuesdays. And we will start with the rest of our panel here with our latecomer, Mr. Walton.
Oh, shit, damn, put me on the spot real quick. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Hail to the chat. Thank you guys so much for being here. Appreciate you. Do me a favor, your favorite 2 or 3 YouTubers. Share out links for their channels, big or small. Support your independent creators out there. Support whether they're making novels or comic books. Share out links for them. Be somebody's hero today. We don't have an industry to support us. We only have each other, and we rise together. Thank you guys so much for being here, for supporting Supreme Heretic. Share out links for his GoFundMe. For his campaign. Subscribe to all these wonderful people on this panel, and thank you for being here, for supporting us. I am author Stephen Walton, the Fandom Menace historian, your historian, born in the chats of the High Council with my brothers and sisters, fighting for our modern mythologies. Wash your hands, wash your ass, be good to each other. Peace.
And we go over to Timma, aka Shellback.
Hey everybody, I'm just a turtle trying to keep his shell from being cracked, I've been doing a little show on Monday evenings here lately, called the Yelling at Park Cars Warm Up. Yes, it's a kind of a little pre-show for Mr. Comics Division. We just cover current events and whatnot, and just get you ready to go for comics' show on Monday nights. And come check me out. Hopefully here in the near future I'll be putting on some other shows or some more videos or something, because this once a week thing doesn't seem to be hitting the algorithm enough. But other than that, I'd just like to say that I hope Stephen Walton has learned how to consume coffee the proper way.
I am cleaning my peen and consuming coffee through the right hole, Shellback. Okay, the right hole.
Just because you have to do a handstand to do it right doesn't mean it's wrong.
That's wrong. No, that's wrong.
All right, let's go to the other Steven.
Yes, everybody, another wonderful Tuesday. We were getting into it tonight. Chat was on fire. You guys are the best. I mean, really, this is the best chat we have here on YouTube. You guys are awesome. And I wanted to share out, I'm putting this in the chat right now. I had a new channel just go up on Friday. I think we're going to be doing trying to go for weekly releases on Thursdays. I am going through the Lord of the Rings extended edition trilogy on a scene by scene basis. So
I thought you said you had a new channel. I'm like, what?
This is a new channel. It's called Lord of the Rings Step by Step. I want to have this as my political channel, and this other one, it's just about Lord of the Rings.
Nice.
So you can go over there. I put up my review of the prologue. I get into a lot of the trivia. I'm digging through the DVDs. I'm going through the commentaries and all of the all of the things that are in the appendices for the special editions. So you're getting knowledge about how it was made and everything that was going on. You get my review on everything. Please check it out. Give a share out there on it. Let people know, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, this is for you. I am doing this specifically for Lord of the Rings fans. So please give that a check out.
That's wonderful, dude. Can't wait to check that channel out.
Yeah. Let's go to our special guest, and that is Janet from Another Planet, who made her big debut on United Resistance. Yes, he did.
But I really appreciate you having me and asking me to come. It really makes me feel good to think that someone like Drew thinks that my point of view is interesting and may help a little bit, or I don't know, whatever. But thank you so much. And I had a good time. And next time, hopefully, I'll look through the DMs a little better and be here earlier.
Well, you're fearless and you're wise, and you have a really keen sense of what's going on, Janet. And I'm very glad that you came on with us this evening, because, you do have a good perspective when it comes to these things, and you really do actually know how to talk about it very well. So I'm glad that you were on. And listen, folks, you know me, I am Supreme Heretic. You can catch me every Tuesday on United Resistance. You can also catch me Thursdays, Pegasus Actual. God, we haven't had a Pegasus Actual in forever, but I actually will have it this Thursday. I'm not expecting a friend of mine like last week to show up at the 11th hour with beer and pizza and be watching the NFL draft. That's not going to happen. So
We have
Pegasus
at the Pegasus Actual.
Yeah, I wish, dude. Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, Pegasus Actual is definitely happening Thursday, so you folks can catch that. And yeah, Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's what I got going on. I'm looking into putting a more full streaming schedule together. I want to bring back my Twitch channel. I want to start content on there a couple days a week. And I really want to start to try to bring in a consistent income to go along with, what people have been so generously putting into Mom's Memorial Fund, and kind of be able to get into a routine where I can keep everything together and maintain the same as everybody else is trying to do right now. So again, thank you folks for your support. Thank you for just being here. Thank you for watching and believing in this program every Tuesday. And I strive to always bring you the best, bring you 100% real opinion, real subjects, not the stuff the mainstream media wants you to hear, but the stuff that's actually happening around you. Because the more that we have these discussions, the more that we stay rooted in actual reality, not some manufactured reality that they're trying to make us build or construct around us, but the reality that we understand and know is tangible in there. As long as we stick to that, if we stick to the principles that were instilled in us, that we grew up with, the principles that were set by our founding fathers, we're going to be okay. I promise you, we are going to get through this, and we're going to get through this together. But we need to keep fighting, and we need to keep putting these people on blast, put the truth out there, and do what you can. Because as I said, this is a war. It's a war for information. It's a very real war. It hasn't gone hot yet, but it will. And when that time comes, the information that we will have put out will be 10 times more critical when people look back on it. So again, thank you folks for being here. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other. Much love. You are indeed the best audience in chat on YouTube. And I will see you soon. Take care of yourselves and each other. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Beware the Drew.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, hi, Coast Casino.
Hey, welcome to Sparking News Podcast. My name is Scott.
I'm E. Temple Queen of the Place to Be Reviews.
I am the Patriot, True Taylor, aka Supreme Heretic.
The Red Gaze on YouTube, at the Red Gaze on Twitter.
What up, what up, what up?
Hello, everybody. It's me, Vinny.
The voice of Immortal Coil.
Oh, hey, I am the Ghost Bear.
What's going on, Tommy? You didn't get anybody to like this?
Yeah, I'm Wes Moody of the Wes Moody Webcast.
Tone Death, rockin'.
I mean, we have a lot of cool